Hi, I'm Michelle Clenard, and I want to talk to you about what I mean when I say your body holds your stories. I say it a lot, and I would like very much to share exactly what that means. And I'm actually going to open up an image so I can share that with you on my screen eventually. Oh, okay, or maybe not. Okay, Mercury is in Gatorade or something like that, so apparently that's not going to work today. Screen share is not working. So never mind, I will just tell you what I mean. So when I talk about stories being held in your body, stories can be trauma, personal trauma, ancestral trauma, or you can word that as ancestral memory because that's passed along epigenetically through our DNA and RNA. And it determines how our genes are expressed. Stories can also be suppressed or unprocessed emotions. Because when we avoid, suppress, or deny ourselves emotions, emotions are just a natural part of being human, and they need to move. Emotion, energy in motion. Emotions, as you know, are not something that you can see or touch. They're not tangible physical things. They are energy that moves through our body, and it needs to move through it or it gets held in the body. That's why it's so important to process emotions. Let's see. Stories can also be our subconscious information or conditioning, such as our beliefs. And I'm not talking about what we believe in terms of religion or consciously what we believe in any way. It's the underlying beliefs, generally about what the world is like, what our place in the world is, what our value is, how things work. It can also be rules or expectations about how things have to be or how things are. And that's part of our conditioned experience. It can also be memories, our own memories, our ancestral memories. I mentioned those already. Emotions, emotional charged energies that are patterned into the subtle body, which includes the subconscious, but also includes the lymphatic system, the nervous system, our thoughts, our feelings, and more. And it can also be our subconscious self-image, body image, or worldview. Things that we don't really think about. We may have a little bit of awareness of, but we don't really consciously consider them every day. Or we may be completely unaware that these patterns or stories are present in our subconscious or subtle body. So if you're wondering where in the body our stories are most commonly held, well, I can tell you for sure that our stories, whatever they may be, can be held in any part of the body. Often because our stories are not physical things. Again, they're electrical impulses, neural pathways, emotional energy. And in the case of trauma, most often it's carried in the nervous system, but it can also be held in tissues, muscles, any protector system, which means any system or tissue or part of the body that is associated with the autonomic nervous system. It can also be in the bones, which is more common with ancestral trauma or ancestral memory. But that can actually show up in the nervous system, in the brain, in the hypothalamus, and in the cells or the DNA and RNA contained within the cells. Our suppressed or unprocessed emotions are most commonly in the muscles and tissues and processing systems. Again, any of these can technically be held anywhere in the body, but this is where I most commonly see them. Subconscious conditioning is actually most commonly held in cellular material or lymphatic fluid that can be anywhere in the body, but very often respiratory system, digestive system, muscles, tissues, nerves. So again, it can be seen anywhere and it can affect any part of our body, but these are the most commonly held areas in the body where I see our stories. Let's see. And how do the stories that your body holds affect you, affect your life, your health? Okay, these are the most common ways. It affects our life and relationships and even our health with stuck patterns, where we end up with the same outcome no matter how hard we try to create something new, a new outcome. So it feels like there's this invisible barrier between you and what you want, what you're trying to create. So if you're trying to create improved health or weight loss or get out of a family pattern or a relationship pattern or a thought pattern, or you're just tired of not speaking up or feeling small or insignificant and you're trying to break that, but you keep looping back into it, most likely there is a story being held in your body that is holding you in that pattern or loop. There is commonly a repetitive or a chronic symptom, sensation, issue, thought, or behavior, which kind of goes to, it's similar to stuck patterns, but sometimes we don't see them as being stuck. We just see them as a thing that happens, like people who have chronic respiratory issues or chronic digestive issues or chronic migraines or chronic pain. That's the word I'm looking for. Or they have very repetitive thought patterns or behaviors that they can't seem to break away from. And even when they think they're about to, they get kind of pulled back into that cycle. A lot of times, stories will show up and affect people by making them feel disconnected, either from themselves or from the world. And that can also lead to feeling unsafe or not at home in your body or in the world. And it can also look like being in your head a lot or feeling like you're disconnected from the body. There are a number of other ways that unconscious stories, invisible stories, that's our all of our limitations are invisible, but they're very real. Okay, so if you feel like you're hitting this invisible barrier, or you keep getting looped into this pattern, or you feel a certain way, and it doesn't always make sense to you why it keeps happening, that's a very common outcome for subtle body information, subconscious patterns, nervous system patterns, trauma patterns, stress patterns. That's what our stories are. And that's basically what's operating in the background or under the surface. And it's very real and it's not your fault, but becoming aware of it can really make a big difference. It can change things. So there is something that you can do about the stories your body is holding. You can influence them and repattern them, and it does require some practice. But here's some things that can help you break the cycle or the pattern, interrupt the pattern of the stories your body is holding. You can learn new coping, self-soothing, or emotional processing skills, because a lot of us cope and deal with things the same way we always have. That's very human thing for us to do. But when we update our coping and emotional processing skills, we are able to show up for ourselves and in the world in a new way that helps our nervous system and our subtle body repattern our stories and change our story. You can learn to listen to your body so you can respond to it more effectively. And I listen to people's bodies for the last 10 plus years. So obviously I have a lot of practice at it, but it is possible to start practicing this. And the more you practice, the more you notice. That's just how that works. You can also identify what your body is holding, which you might need help identifying the stories your body is holding. If you need help with that, that's not surprising because it's not information. Your stories are often not information that you're consciously aware of. The stories my body holds and has been holding, and the ones I'm aware of, I wasn't always aware of them. I became aware of them, and you can become aware of them too, though you might need some help doing that. You can practice healing-centered self-care, which is called whole care, and I'm going to be presenting that to you. So if you subscribe, you can stay tuned for a drop-in class and an online course and resources and things that will help you start practicing self-care that is healing-centered, that helps you process and recover and regulate the nervous system, which all is connected to how your body is holding your stories. You can also be supported. I already mentioned that a little bit. When you're trying to identify what your stories your body is holding, you may need support. But truthfully, if you are looking to heal or transform how you are feeling or showing up in the world, or change your outcomes in some way, being supported is really important. And I know not everyone can afford to be supported in, big mastermind groups that are thousands of dollars. I completely understand that. And I agree that is not always attainable unless you have a certain amount of privilege. But I want you to know you did not acquire these stories that your body holds in isolation. You did not acquire the barriers, the blocks, the symptoms, and issues that are associated with those stories in isolation. And you do not have to figure it all out and fix them in isolation either. As a matter of fact, for most people, trying to do it yourself and figure it all out yourself actually can perpetuate your patterns. It activates your stress physiology. It can actually make you feel worse. This is what happens when if you've ever been frustrated by self-care or any type of healing or growth-oriented practice, it's probably because you lack support. And I do offer communities as well as different levels of investment and support for all people, for all. I want to meet you where you are, is what I'm saying. Not everybody needs as much support as everybody else. Not everybody needs the same type of support. But if you'd like to learn more about how you can change the stories your body is holding, how you can learn new coping skills, all the things that we just talked about. If you'd like to learn more, subscribe to the Thrive newsletter or schedule a discovery call with me. The links to that are in the description of this video or in my bio at michelleklenard.com. And I really appreciate you watching this video. And if you have any questions or concerns or just want to learn more, remember, I'm only a phone call away. Just schedule your call. There's no obligation. It's free of charge. It's about 20 minutes or so. We can answer your questions and give you some guidance or direction. And I hope to talk to you soon. All right, if you like this video, remember, please subscribe, like, and share. And I will see you in the next video.